everyone, welcome to yet another episode of Hoop Room at Hoopsters, the League of Action Heroes, a community of change catalysts. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the management, the teachers, and the parents of the schools that are participating in this event. It's really wonderful to see your involvement in helping your students engage in activities that would help them towards a holistic education. Today, we present you a segment which is very special to us, which we call the Cub Reporting. The Hoopsters Cub Reporters are enthusiastic and inquisitive children from various schools who are selected to interview guests, report events, and write for our platform. This time, they are in conversation with Lieutenant General J.S. Sandhu, PVSM, UYSM, AVSM, VSM, a former Kashmir Corps Commander who retired as the Military Secretary of the Indian Army. Our Cub Reporters will be asking them questions about life in the Indian Army and what it takes to be a soldier. Thank you very much, sir, for agreeing to come on the show. It's absolute privilege. I'm sure the kids are going to have a great time talking to you. I will now hand over the charge to Nupur, who will introduce the students and moderate this program. Nupur, the stage is all yours.
Thank you, Bala.
Thank you, Mr. Bala. Guys, are you all ready? All right. Can you quickly do an introduction of each of you so that the other guests who are watching knows who's talking today. Okay, we'll start with Alhad. Alhad.
My name is Alhad Surve. I study in Euro School in 2B.
Thank you. Karun.
My name is Karun Balaji. I am from Tapas School in Bangalore.
Huh? Could you please turn your mic off? Thank you. Ahana?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ahana from Euro School.
Okay, Sanvi?
Hi there, myself Sandhu from grade 5th A, Euro School, Wakad West.
Surya?
My name is Surya and I am from Birla Open Minds International School.
Okay, Sahasha?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sahasra Singhi Reddy. I am from Birla Open Minds International School.
Varshini? Varshini, can you hear me?
Good evening, everybody. I am Varshini from Birla Open Minds International School, Karimnagar.
Okay, Hamsini?
Good evening, everyone. This is myself, Hamsini, from grade 6 from Birla Open Minds International School, Karimnagar.
Anantram?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Anantram Vijayaraj. I study in Royal Concord International School, Bangalore.
Shrestha?
Good evening, everybody. I'm Shrestha from Royal Concord International School, Bangalore.
All right, so those are our Cub Reporters, and they'll be asking Sir some questions today. Some of them also have aspirations of joining the army. So before we start, Sir, I would like to ask you a question. Can you give us a quick and a broad description of the Indian Armed Forces and the 3 wings?
Okay, Nupur, thank you. The Indian Armed Forces have basically got 3 wings, which is the Army, the Air Force, and the Navy. The Navy, as you all would know, looks after the seas and the oceans. They're basically on ships. And they also have aircraft, which are on the aircraft carrier or on the shore, right? The Air Force largely looks after the skies. There are a lot of aircraft and helicopters which they handle. And the Indian Army looks after the land frontier. By the land frontier, I mean the borders with Pakistan and China and other borders like Bangladesh, Myanmar. Now, within the army, there are different regiments, and different people who form the army. Like there is the infantry who deal with they are the ones who go into attack. They are the ones who lead the attacks into enemy territory or they defend own territory. Along with the infantry, you have the armored corps. The armored corps has got tanks. You would have seen tanks in the Republic Day parade. So the tanks also go along with the infantry into attack, or they defend along with the infantry. Then you have certain other arms who support these two major arms in the battle. Those who support include the artillery. They fire a lot of guns and onto the enemy positions. Then you have signals people who give you telecommunications. Then you have the army also give support in the helicopters. You have engineers who help you in certain things related to the armed forces as such. Logistic related was provided by the food rations and other clothing weapons. That's for broadly forms. The army is the largest army in the world.
Sir, your voice is cracking.
There's a voice problem, sir.
Okay. The message I'm getting is low system resources may affect your audio quality. Try closing some applications. Well, I won't be able to close any applications.
It's better now. You can go ahead.
Okay. And I'll speak more deliberately. Maybe that might help. Okay, so the Indian Army has got about 13 lakh people, troops, officers and troops. Within these 13 lakh troops, you normally have about 45,000 officers, and the rest are the troops. And the only armies which are larger than the Indian Army are the Chinese Army and the American Army or the US Army. Okay. So what I can assure you is that you have got a very powerful military to defend your country. No country can possibly attack you easily. Keep that in mind. All right. So what has happened is those who are our enemies, they try to avoid fighting with us directly, but they fight through indirect means by, sending terrorists. You would have seen the Bombay in 2008, 26 November, how they sent terrorists inside to try and kill and cause terror within the city of Bombay. All right. So these are some of the bad things, or what we call terror acts done by some of our enemies. So we have to keep countering those also. I think that would be a good enough introduction of the army. Would that be okay, Nupur? Or we need to add on more?
The children have so many questions. I think we'll get to all of the aspects very soon. So our first question from our Cub reporter today will be from Alhad, who's from Euroschool. So Alhad, can you ask your first question, please?
My first question is, sir, when you were on a duty far away, what did you do when you felt like eating your favorite food and it was not available?
When something is not available, you ignore it and you eat what is available. What happens is that, your want and desire is what you have to control. I may want to eat ice cream, but if I'm not going to get ice cream, I will eat what I get. All right. And I should not become, disappointed because of not getting the ice cream. That is what I'd like to advise you. Learn to accept what you get happily. All right.
Okay.
Because if you become disappointed, your mood will go down. When your mood goes down, well, it's better to have a smile on your face and enjoy with what you have rather than, dreaming and hoping for something which you don't have. So eat what you get and be happy. That's the way I look at it. All right. And that's how we've been trained. Okay. So I hope that gives you some idea of how we handle various things. You do what comes in front of you, the way you handle it. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
The next question is from Karun.
Yeah. So, sir, my question is, what inspired you to join the Indian Army?
Okay. When I was growing up, I was a boy like you in the 60s. Now, in the 1960s, India saw 3 wars. The 1962 war with China, 1965 war with Pakistan, and then we had the 1971 war with Pakistan again. Now, because of those wars, what was happening was there was a lot of patriotism also. And we used to have a radio those days, All India Radio, Akashvani. And there used to be some good songs which used to, motivate us. Songs like "Ae Mere Watan Ke Logon," "Zara Aankh Mein Bhar Lo Pani," sung by Lata. She's passed away a few days ago. So such songs also inspire a child. Now, how does it? Then I used to see war movies. There were some English war movies like Patton, Tora Tora Tora, Hindi war movies like Hakikat, Lalkar. We saw those. And those are the influences which influence you in your childhood. Today, you are also being influenced by what you're watching or what you're listening to. Now, what happened is that then after the 1971 war, it was around April of 1972, I had gone to my village. My village is near the Pakistan border in Punjab. So it was just about 10-12 kilometers from the Pakistani border. And there was an army unit located in our farm. We had orchards. So they were located there. So the officer who was in charge of that farm, he took me and my elder brother. He said, let's go across to Pakistan. So he took us across. That time India had captured the areas across into Shakargarh area. So we drove. When we crossed the border, no pass
We are
required.
losing you. Sir, we are losing you.
Okay, I'll slow down. So the boards, better now?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the board said that welcome to Pakistan, no passports required. And courtesy Sam Bahadur. Sam Bahadur was the army chief at that time. All right. So these were the things when I went inside into Pakistan, we saw, I collected shrapnel, of artillery shelling. So as a child, I was enthralled by that. And that was the time I was in 8th standard. That's the time I said that I'll join the army. And 4 years later, in 1976, I was in NDA in Pune. So that's what motivated me, Karun. And I'm sure what you see today will motivate you for the future.
Yeah.
Next, we have Ahana from Euroschool again.
Sir, in your career span over 36 years, you have served the nation at different posts. Which place attracted you the most and why?
Which place? Say again.
Which place attracted you the most?
I saw many beautiful places in my various tenures. Okay. One of the places which I liked best was Kashmir. Kashmir is a beautiful place. I remember once, we were doing a training course in Kashmir. It was a mountain warfare course. So we were carrying a lot of rucksack with load, and we climbed up a mountain. And then we crossed the mountain pass. There was a pass. We crossed that pass. And as I crossed the pass and I looked in front, there were meadows in front. There was a valley. It is the valley called Kishansar Valley in Gurez area. That valley was full of meadows, and there were sheep grazing, green, lush green. It was summer months. Winter, of course, it would have been full of snow. And then when you walked through that, and then there were 2 lakes over there. One was a lake called Kishansar, and the other lake was Bishansar. The water from the higher lake Kishansar used to flow into there was a small waterfall, and the water went into Bishansar. The beautiful areas. We camped over there next to it. We were, of course, doing some training activities, but then you see how beautiful the place was. So even though the training was tough and difficult, but I enjoyed the place. Okay. So that's what the army gives you. It takes you to places which nobody would see. Very rare for individuals to see such places, right?
Yes.
The next Cub reporter is Sandhu from Euroschool.
The audio is okay, Nupur? I believe it's going off in between.
It's slightly cracking, but it's coming back. So this one was fine.
Okay.
Hi,
Yeah.
sir. Good evening. Myself, Sandhu. So my question is, army life needs a lot of discipline, right? So can you just give us some tips in which we can implement that discipline in our lives?
Okay. Discipline, you have to, is a matter of behavior. So you have to, develop your behavior in a manner that you become disciplined. Now, small tips which you follow right from childhood to improve discipline is, first one is punctuality. Okay. Being on time wherever you have to be. Like morning, your school time is say 7:30 or 8 o'clock. You'll have to get up at a time, get ready and be there. Similarly, evening also you would have some engagements, be in time. So the first step in developing discipline is timeliness, or what I call punctuality. Then living a tidy and clean life. All right. So wherever you're staying, your room, keep it clean, keep it tidy, keep things organized. Now, when you do these things, automatically you start becoming more disciplined in life. When we went to National Defense Academy in Pune, NDA, they used to ensure that our cabins were inspected regularly. We had to keep them clean, spick and span, absolutely shining. Okay. In the army, our shoes, we had to always keep them polished. Boots, you would see a lot of army people or Navy or Air Force. You see the sailors in their whites on a ship, absolutely clean. So these are the ways in which you become more disciplined in life. All right. And also in your dealings with people, being more courteous. When you talk, when you meet someone, wishing him good morning, good evening, good afternoon. So all this brings discipline into your life. Okay. Very good habits have to be developed over time. Fine.
Got it, sir.
Thank you.
So Ahana, you're from Kashmir.
Yes, ma'am.
So how did you listening to Sir talk about the place you're from?
Well, I felt really proud that Sir enjoyed the place.
Yes,
I
there
felt
were
really proud.
Ahana, in fact, there were many other beautiful places there in Kashmir. You would have seen many of them. Pahalgam also a very beautiful place. Gulmarg, Sonamarg, Gurez Valley. There are a large number of such. Dachigam near Srinagar, another beautiful area. Okay. So Kashmir, that's why they say is a beautiful place. Yeah.
So our next cub reporter is Surya from Birla Open Minds International School.
Sir, my first question is, tell us about the evolution of the weapons and the best features of the most special gun you know.
You see, evolution of weapons, this is a very long question. Long, very difficult to answer in a very short time. Weapons started from prehistoric man. Man started throwing stones at his enemies or at the animals which he wanted to kill. So that's why we started calling it the Stone Age. Now from stone came to spears, or swords, talwars.
So we are losing you.
Okay. I'll slow down. Can you hear me, Surya?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So then from spears and all, then about 500 years ago, people developed gunpowder. Now from gunpowder, they started firing weapons. Instead of a tir kaman, instead of bow and arrow, and then that became more and more modernized. So from the primitive guns, we started going into automatic weapons, wherein you could fire number of bullets together, right? Now from those automatic firing weapons, rifles, we went on to what we call the guns today, artillery guns, from which you can fire very big shells, which are, huge ones, this big, okay? And they can be fired up to distances of about 30, 40 kilometers. Then you went to missiles. You would have heard of missiles, like BrahMos missile. The BrahMos missile, you can fire it for 200-300 kilometers. Then beyond that, you went in for what we call intercontinental ballistic missiles. The intercontinental ballistic missiles are like the Agni missile.
We're just checking to see why the tracking. So
okay, what I'll do is I'll switch from Wi-Fi. I will switch to a hotspot, mobile hotspot. Okay, just hold for 2 minutes.
Okay, guys, are you enjoying the whole thing?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Be prepared with all your questions. And I'm also want to tell the other participants who are on the show that you can make notes of your questions, because we'll give the last 15 minutes to everybody to ask the questions they want to ask. Just be prepared for it. So what did you guys like best about what happened till now?
Sir's experience.
Which one? What did you like best about his experience?
The evolution of the guns.
Oh, you like guns? Okay, good. Surya, you got your question answered?
Yes, sir.
Good.
So one more part is there in the question.
Okay, yeah, he'll answer that. What was the part? What's the second part?
So the second part is, tell us the best features of the most special gun you know.
Ah, okay. Just give it another minute or so. I think we'll sort this out.
guys, just give us 2 minutes, huh? So we can just switch and there's no disturbance in between. Yeah.
Somebody asked him question of saying, what are all the, those qualifications he has, no? VSM, ASM, and all those huge things. Ask him what it all means. Nupur, I think you should ask that.
Yeah, I will.
He's going to show you the medals anyway and explain to you. You can have a look at that.
Anhar, what are you playing with? What is that? I can't see.
Just go to go to hotspot. Galaxy M31.
Nupur, is it better?
Yeah, much better, much better.
But right now you're frozen. Totally.
I know now. How is it now?
Now can you hear us? How is it now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Internet connection is unstable. The internet connection is unstable.
Okay. Sonika, again having
there was a problem.
Again, there's a delay, sir.
Is it okay now?
No, there's a slight delay between the audio and the
lag, right?
Yeah, there's a lag, yeah.
Now, Nupur, is it better?
I'll have to see. Keep talking to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, is it fine? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, sorry for the break in between. Can we go back to the question?
Yes.
Surya?
Who was?
Surya, do you want to ask your question one more time?
Okay, ma'am. Tell us about the evolution of the weapons and the best features of the most special gun you know.
Yeah. So after I'd spoken about the Agni missile, Agni missile, we can fire up to ranges of 5,000 kilometers. So weapons have progressed over time. All right. And best weapon, I won't say best weapon because, each weapon has its particular role. Every weapon is designed for something. All right. Like the weapon, which is a pistol, which you keep in a holster, can naturally not be compared with a gun which fires for long distances. The tank also has got a different role. All right. So just keep it in mind that, okay, all these weapons have got good capabilities and they're good weapons. That's it. That should be what you should keep in mind, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Your second question?
So my second question is, tell us about the best features of the most special gun you know.
Yeah, the best, that's what I mentioned, is that, the best features of a weapon is what we call reliability. Reliability means when you press the trigger, it must fire. It should not, jam, right? The next thing that you look at the weapon is accuracy. It should fire accurately. So when you look through the sight or the telescopic sight and you aim, the bullet should also go to the same place where you have aimed it. That's the other issue. Then the third important thing of a weapon is lethality. By lethality, I mean how lethal is it? When it hits the target, whichever is the target, actually these weapons are meant to kill people, right? So therefore, how effectively does it do its job? There might be some weapon which may hit but may not kill, right? It might just injure the person. So when you combine all of these, there are a lot of good weapons in the country and in the world. Fine. And presently, the Indian Army has got some Israeli rifles, which are very good, beautiful rifles. Okay, the Galil sniper rifle is one of those, which is a very beautiful, excellent weapon. So, and there are many different weapons. So I think that should be what you keep in mind, right? Okay. Yeah.
So now, before we go into the next question from Sahasra, am I saying your name right, Sahasra? I feel like I'm saying your name wrong.
Correct, ma'am.
It's right? Okay, before we go into your question, I mean, are the rest of you getting bored? No?
Absolutely not, ma'am.
Then why are you all looking so grumpy? Is it like your sleeping time or something now? Huh? So you...
No, ma'am.
Yeah,
Or,
are you sure? Huh?
Or maybe they are finding what I'm saying too difficult to understand.
No, sir.
No, sir.
I hope you're understanding it, right?
We are just listening to
Sir.
Let's see if you're paying attention, okay? What does lethal mean?
Lethal
Okay.
means you have to, even if it hits the target, it also has to kill the person, not only injure the person. That's why. So that's what I know about it.
Okay,
Good, Karan.
Sahasra, so what is lethal?
Ma'am, it's deadly, like dangerous.
Right. Yeah, does everybody agree with that? Does anybody have something else to say? No? Okay, Sahasra, ask your question.
Yes. You remember there used to be some video games. Karun might remember Lethal Weapon. And, people used to play these video games, Lethal Weapon 1, Lethal Weapon 2, Lethal Weapon 3. How many of you have seen those?
No, I haven't heard of that game, but I have played some games with guns, like video games.
Right.
Few with guns, but a few without guns, like swords, the old movies. Like
Yeah, okay. And Lethal Weapon, there was a series of movies also, Lethal Weapon series. All right.
I've
Okay.
also watched movies with guns too.
Good.
Okay, Sahasra, your question.
Okay, ma'am. Good evening, everyone, and special greetings to you, sir.
Thank you,
Sir,
Sahasra.
what motivated you to join the Indian Army?
I think I answered that earlier. So I'll not
Yeah.
repeat it again.
Sir, so may I ask my other question, sir?
What your next question,
Please
Sahasra?
ask something else.
Okay, sir. Do you get to see your family, or how often do you contact your family?
Nowadays things are much better because of mobile communications. You are able to talk to your family regularly, daily, and mobile communications today is there in many border areas. But many border areas even today don't have good mobile communications, like Arunachal Pradesh, remote areas. So there, of course, the troops have made some arrangements where they get speak through a landline and then they connect to their families. So today things are much better. You're able to communicate with your family daily basis or regularly every week. When I was a young officer in Siachen, all right, I was a company commander in Siachen Glacier. We did not have radios. We just had a radio communication from the place where we were located to our bases. So I couldn't talk to my wife. She was living in Mau those days. And we used to be only on letters. And the letters also used to be very irregular because, from there, the letter used to come down. Then when the weather was clear, the helicopters would bring the letters. And then when the weather was okay, the aircraft used to fly out from Ladakh. So my wife used to I used to write a letter every day. And she used to get 10, 12 letters together. Okay. Because the letters used to bunch up. And then she would look at the dates and then, put them sequentially and then read them. All right. And her letters also to me, used to come to me once in a month, 15, 20 letters. So that's how life was. But it was interesting. And I'm happy about it because these are the good things of life. All right. We enjoyed them. It never made a morale down. All right. My morale was always up because we took things in a stride. We used to take it as a challenge of life. Right? And that's what I want you all to remember, that take it as a challenge of life. Whatever happens, be strong enough to face it. Okay. You may not have a better mobile with you. You may not have electricity because of, after the tsunami which took place, all electric wires, poles were down. By the time electricity is restored, it takes a few days. So learn to accept a hardship. Learn to be able to face hardship, right? And don't always worry that, okay, I don't have this. You will get it. You may have some times which are bad, but then the good times will come. Okay?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. The next Cub reporter is Varshini. Varshini has some
Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir. Myself, Varshini. I feel privileged for this wonderful opportunity to interact with you, sir. So my first question is, if you land in a situation where you have to choose between saving civilians and capturing India's most wanted terrorist, what would you choose?
These are, every situation has a different dynamic to it. All right. I can't always tell you, yes, no, do this. This is right. This is wrong. Things are not always black and white. You may find a lot of things which we call a gray zone between the black and the white. I'll give you two examples, all right, to make you understand this situation. A few years ago, I think about 10, 20 years ago, some Chechen terrorists had, entered a cinema hall in Beslan in Russia and held about 300-400 people hostage in that theater. Okay. Now, there were about 7, 8 or 5, 7 terrorists who had held them together. Now, the question which the Russians faced was, whether to save the lives of those civilians stuck who were held hostage there or to kill the terrorists. The Russian psyche is that we will kill the terrorists. So what they did was they gassed that theater. That means, they let gas into that theater, that something like, tear gas, so that the terrorists become slightly disoriented, that they're not able to handle things. They start, tears and all come up. And then they finished them. In the process, a lot of local people also, the civilians also died, some of them. All right. But that was what the step they took. So, they gave priority that we have to kill the terrorists. Fine. Now you take another example of that nature. Okay. You have a situation, for example, let me say, I'll give you an example of, there was a mosque in Srinagar. Ahana would remember, this called Hazrat Bal Mosque. Now in 93, I think it was November 93, about 40 terrorists entered that mosque and took about 100, 120 odd people hostage there in the mosque, in Hazrat Bal Mosque. Now the question that the Indian army faced that time was that if you attack that place, you might destroy the mosque. It was a very famous mosque. It has the relic of Prophet Muhammad in it. The hair of Prophet Muhammad is kept there, called Muqaddas. Now, if you attacked that, you destroyed the mosque, there would have been a bigger problem in the valley. A lot of people would have got agitated. Okay. Like what happened in Blue Star, in, Golden Temple in Amritsar in 1984, that they attacked it and it got damaged. So, and at the same time, there were civilians who were being held hostage by those terrorists. So you put a siege around that mosque. That siege continued for a couple of months. Finally, there was an agreement done and the civilians were, allowed out, or rather the terrorists were allowed, given what was called a safe passage out. Given a safe passage that, okay, we allow you to go. And the civilians were saved. So that was the way you handled that situation. Now, what is the worry of yours is that the terrorists were there. The way we look at it is, okay, if I have not killed him today, I'll kill him tomorrow. He may get away today with what he's doing, but maybe in the next few months, we'll finish them. So that is another way in which one handles the situation. Though I will tell you that it's very difficult to decide that whether to do this or not. Ideally, I would like to do what the snipers do. That, okay, take a pot shot that the terrorists, kill him, even if he's holding people hostage. In an aircraft, a hijacker does the same thing. He holds people hostage, and then you have to take out that hijacker without killing people. All right. And sometimes, many times, the government then takes a call and says, okay, let the hijacker free so that you save the civilians. So my advice to you is that I will not be able to tell you always do this as the right thing and this is the wrong thing. But each situation, take a decision which you feel is the best, which you think is the right decision. Aim is to save life and also finish the terrorist. That should be the way and you should handle it. All right.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Does anybody know what a sniper is?
Yeah, ma'am. I do.
Okay, can we give Surya a chance?
Sir, sniper is who kills someone from a long distance, from a far distance, or from
okay. Sahasra?
A sniper is also like, it's like they are shooting secretly, ma'am, at the terrorists or at the mission person. So they have to shoot secretly from distance far away, like Surya said, ma'am.
Okay, Karun?
So a sniper is a long-range weapon used. It doesn't make a lot of noise, and when like a soldier is in trouble, there's like an enemy, and you have the soldier has ran out of ammo. Usually, that is the case few times. So in those cases also, a sniper would be used. So silently, the sniper would shoot the enemy, letting the soldier reload and again start attacking the enemies.
Yes, in fact, in many movies, films, you would have seen person, sniper firing and taking a headshot. There was one very famous English movie, Behind Enemy Lines. It talked about it's two snipers engaging each other in what was called in the Second World War, Stalingrad. And recently, I think there was a same example of a sniper firing even in this film, Bell Bottom. Nupur, I think you might remember. Bell Bottom also had some similar shots. Though I don't know if children would have seen this movie.
You're talking about the Akshay Kumar film?
Yeah, Akshay Kumar's film, Bell Bottom. In that also, there's a film shot where, the sniper fires at the terrorists. Okay. But the children may not have seen the movie. I don't know. Okay.
All right. Not bad. Yeah, you guys have a lot of information about ammo and all of that. I think it's the movies and the video games and yeah.
Yes.
All right. So next, we move on to Hamsini.
Good evening, sir.
Hamsini, your mic is on mute.
Sorry, ma'am.
Yeah.
Good evening, sir. Myself, Hamsini from Birla Open Minds International School, Karimnagar. So my first question is that, sir, did your military operations influence your thinking about war or military in general?
Yes. In fact, our training wise, we've trained to deal with military operations. So it affects our thinking. We think in that manner in which, you face each situation, what are the problems that are being faced, and you invariably, your military operations do affect your thinking. It's like, the books you read will influence you. So similarly, the military operations is something which I am doing, training, learning, speaking about. So that does affect my thinking or influences my mind. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So the next participant is, I can't see you on the screen, Anantram from Royal Concord.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Good evening, sir. So my question is, in many Western and Asian countries, men have to serve the army for a certain number of days. Should this practice be adopted even in India?
Yeah, Anantram, this aspect has been discussed in the Army, Air Force, Navy, and in the government a few years ago also. But, it's not feasible for India to have what you are saying is compulsory military service. That where every boy or girl joins the military for a duration of time and leaves it. Like, in Israel, every person, once he becomes 17, 18 years of age, has to do about 1 year in the military, right? Now in India, we can't do that because of our population. You see, about 80 lakh children appear for class 12 examination every year. So even if we say that, okay, all those who do class 12 should join the military for 1 year. No, you can't take 80 lakh people into the Indian Army. Or if you say, okay, we will only take boys, not take girls, the girls will get hungry. All right. So, and even if and the army strength is 13 lakh. So we can't take another 80 lakh people into the army every year. So for India, we don't need these large numbers. We don't need voluntary or compulsory military service, right? Because we are getting enough number of children joining the forces as required by us. About 60,000 men are required in the army every year. Okay, just to give you an idea. And for those 60,000 vacancies, at least about 10-15 lakh people apply. Similarly for officers, for NDA, I'll give you an example of National Defense Academy. There are about 400 vacancies, 300-400 vacancies in the academy, and the applicants are about 2 lakh. So from 2 lakh, about 400 boys are picked up. So if you say that, okay, everybody to do 1 year, where will you put those 2 lakh boys who appear for the examination? All right. So that is not feasible for India of doing military service. So what is the option? The second option which the government says is join NCC, National Cadet Corps. National Cadet Corps, you get some military training, and at the same time you're doing your normal studies, normal education, and do your normal graduation, and then take up a job as desired by you. Okay. I hope
Yes,
you've
sir,
understood what it is. These figures might be, very big for you, but just I said that so you to understand how big the problem is. All right. For our country, which has got 135 crore people. Okay.
Shrestha from Royal Concord.
Yes,
Very
ma'am.
question.
Good evening, sir. So my question
Yeah.
is, what do you remember about the day you were enlisted? What is basic training like, and how were your first few days at the camp?
Okay. Yeah, I was, we reported to National Defense Academy, NDA, in Pune. So we were picked up in buses from the railway station, Khadki railway station. And when we reached, we had boxes with us. They had told us that you have to carry a box and with our clothing and certain things which we had to carry were there. We reached the place where the central place, which was a reception. When we reached there, they offered us some snacks, some good cakes, okay, and tea. And then, of course, we were sent to various squadrons. There are different 12 squadrons in NDA. And then in the squadron, there were seniors who then took charge of us. And then they started grooming us in terms of, like a hosteler going to a hostel and the seniors rag him. Okay. Nowadays, ragging is banned in colleges and, boardings. But in the academies, some amount of ragging, in those days, ragging was much more. Today, it is lesser, far lesser. But it was it wasn't considered as ragging. It was a part of, bringing you into a certain grit or a shape. So we had a lot of physical activities. In the first few days, it was very tough going. Morning PT, we used to do after that drill in which our knees used to start paining. Okay. And then, of course, a lot of running around, games also in the evening. And then we had studies also going on at the same time. There used to be study hour at night. And then routine used to be a tough routine. Early morning, we used to get up at 5. And last light or light out used to be after 10 at night. And sometimes we had to, we were kept awake even beyond 10 at night to train us. So initial days in the academy as a junior were tough, right? But then that toughness is what, you start becoming tough when you have a tough time. There's a saying which is, there in Belgaum, there's a commando school. In the commando school, there's a saying which is put on the boards there. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. You understood what I'm saying? When the going gets tough, the tough get going. So you have to be made tough. To be made tough, you have to go through, a very hard, difficult routine, what we call tough times. And that's how, जैसे तलवार की धार को तपा के गरम किया जाता है तो वो तलवार की धार अच्छी होती है. So that is how you are trained, made stronger. You carry loads and walk for distances in the summer heat. Okay. So that's how your training makes you a tougher person. So that when you go to a difficult place like Siachen, you don't get worried about it. You say, okay, this is a challenge, I can take it on. I'm strong enough to take it on. Okay. That enough confidence is there in you. That's what it is like. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So we have finished one round of questions with all our cub reporters. Is there something you want to ask them now?
Okay. This is very difficult. Yeah, the first thing I'd like to ask you all is, how much of games time do you spend? How much of time do you spend on games every day? By games, I don't mean video games. I mean actual physical games. in a day? Yeah, Karun.
Yeah,
Go.
so at like it can be even like at 3:30, it could go to 8 o'clock. Because
Good.
me and my friends, we play for a lot of time. I only leave, no, if my mom also calls, I don't go. Only when all of my friends leave, I also leave.
Good. Which game do you play?
Like hide and seek, catch. Mostly shuttlecock these days. Then we also sit and talk for some time. Mostly running games.
Okay. Who out of you doesn't play games?
Sahasra, you want to say something? Or you don't play games? What is it?
I don't play games, ma'am.
You don't? Okay.
I don't play games, ma'am.
You don't like playing or?
So I like playing, ma'am. It's just I'm alone, but I do play with my dogs sometimes, ma'am.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, Alhad also wants to say something. Alhad.
Alhad, where are you?
I don't have friends, but I play with my sister.
Okay, Hamsini.
Even I don't play much games, but I play with my sister at times.
Okay. My, one suggestion to you all is play games. Find opportunities to play. Like even, okay, if it's you and your sister play badminton. All right. Or play table tennis. Play something, right? Or, if you are a larger group of people, then play a game like basketball. If you play games, you will become a stronger person. You develop sportsman spirit amongst yourselves. You develop what we call camaraderie, team spirit. Your friendship bonds become stronger, right? And the point is not that you have to become a champion or a winner, all right? But play for the fun of it, fine. And physically, your muscles become better, stronger. Your coordination of muscles becomes better. You don't realize it, But while you're playing badminton, your coordination between your eyes, your wrist improves. Okay. Your judgment of, how you're going to move the shuttle into a particular place in the opponent's court also becomes better. Fine. Your role models should be people like Sindhu, Saina Nehwal and all, right? So let's see. Okay. Yeah.
All right. So we're going to move back to the kids asking you questions. You go back to Alhad. What I want you all to do now is go through your list, okay, and pick your favorite question out of your list. You all finished the first question. Now we go to your most favorite question in that list. Okay, so we start with Alhad. Alhad, what's your next question?
Wait.
Okay, I'm waiting.
Can you share some funny incident from your otherwise disciplined army life?
Funny incident. Oh, well, okay, I'll narrate an incident. I served with the Gorkha units, right? And with the Gorkha troops are very fun-loving. They'll enjoy life. They are very happy-go-lucky people. They take life as it comes. So once we were going in a difficult area in a mountainous place. So we had a person with us, was one of my senior officers was a slightly older person, more bulky also. So he was finding it difficult climbing and he slipped at a place on the slope and he went down and there was, a puddle of water over there. Snow had melted and it was snow slopes. So from the snow slopes, the snow had collected and there was water which had collected, cold water at a place. So the senior slipped and went into that water. So the troops in front and behind, they started laughing a lot, So that's what Gorkha troops are. They enjoy the moment. He was a senior, he would have fired them up. But then the greatness of that man also was, he also had a hearty laugh. He said, oh, see, and then the way he said it was, he told them, Ke karne kancha, budo bhayo. In Nepali, it means that kya karna hai. Kancha is a younger brother. Kya karna, main abhi buda ho gaya, old man, main old ho gaya. ठीक है? So he also took it in a laughing manner. So these are some funny incidents which happen in life. You keep facing situations, and despite a difficult climb, the troops were happy and laughing about it. Fine. Yeah.
All right.
I think I'll answer your thing.
What?
Yes.
Does that answer your question?
What?
Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Karun, you're next.
Yeah. So, I also want to join army. Do you have any advice for me?
Yeah, Karun, good that you want to join the army. Like I was a child and I also thought of joining the army. So the first thing you do is, toughen yourself. Make yourself stronger. When I decided to join the army, I used to get up in the morning, early morning. I used to stay in Pune. So there was a hill nearby, there's a hill feature which we used to call the Ganesh Kind. There was a Betal Tekdi. And we used to climb. I used to go in the mornings, at 5:36 before I went to school, go climb that hill, come down. And then, we used to cycle to school, Loyola High School in Pune. And then used to play a lot of games. I was very good in hockey. So we used to play about 2 hours of games every day. So that's why I kept toughening myself, ready to, take on difficult situations. And not only physical toughening or physical running games, also mentally become more alert, more sharp. Because today, joining the army is difficult. Army, Air Force, Navy, it's a very tough examination. I give you an example, 400 boys are picked up out of 2 lakh who apply. And the first stage is a written examination. If you don't do well in the written examination, you don't get called for that interview. And they only call about 8,000-9,000 people for the interviews. So my advice to you is, yes, first thing you do is toughen yourself, become sharper mentally. Also improve your public speaking.
Yeah.
In your interview at that time when you're picked up, they see how you speak. How are you able to convey your, something like a lecturate, debate. So do such things.
Okay.
Public speaking. Okay. And then I think it will be fine. You'll have a good life.
Yeah, okay, sir.
We move on to Ahana. Ahana, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am. So my question is, did you pick up any languages or learned any new languages while you were posted in different places for communicating?
The language additional that I picked up was Nepali. Because my troops were from Nepal, they spoke Nepalese. So that's the language I picked up. And also, my Urdu improved. I won't say I became an expert in Urdu, but, by living and talking to people in Kashmir, one was using more of Urdu words than Hindi words. So, like I used to talk of mulk instead of desh. I used to talk of, the words which used to come out would be invariably, what we used to bring it in musibat instead of instead of saying kathin. Musibatein, kathinaiya. But, the words which come out normally used to be the Urdu words because, you were staying there with people who were normally speaking Urdu. I didn't pick up Kashmiri. You know Kashmiri? Yeah, I didn't pick up Kashmiri. My apologies for that. But then, I had too much of other things to do. That's why I couldn't devote time to Kashmiri language as such. Fine? Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
answering the question.
All right, Sanvi, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am. So, sir, you have served 5 terms in Jammu and Kashmir, right? So you might have faced a lot of challenges. What did kept your confidence level high?
Okay. You know, when you are going to a place where you're going to face a lot of challenges, what everyone does is you prepare for the challenge. Okay. Like you have an examination to do. You prepare for the exam. That's the challenge in front of you, that, okay, this is my exam, I have to do well. So you study, you prepare for it. Or there's a match which is going to take place. You're playing a, say, cricket match and the opposite team. So you practice before that. You get ready. You see who are their players, what are their weaknesses, what are their strong points, who is the person you have to make out first. So the same way, whenever I went to Kashmir, before going there, we used to prepare. We used to train our troops. It was not only me alone. I was going with people with me, my unit, my soldiers who were under me. So we had to train them and tell them what is the situation which you will face, how will you cope with it, what will happen, okay, if you are traveling on the road and there is some firing which comes onto you, how will you react? Okay, how do you know, if you know there are terrorists in a particular place or in a house, how will you cordon that or surround that and finish the terrorist? So we used to practice, train, and as you train, you become more confident. As you train, you become more prepared, well prepared, and then you take on the challenge. Okay. And then you are so confident that you say, yes, what will happen? Whatever it is, we will be able to handle it. But along with preparation and training, there is one more very important factor which happens when you are in a place which is difficult, when you are facing challenges. And that factor is, prayer. So I used to pray to God every day, every morning, every evening, before I slept. Okay. Bhagwan ko yaad karo. And I used to thank him for keeping me alive. All right. Because we often faced death situations. Okay. And it's like you going for an examination. Before going to the exam, you pray to God. You pray that your exam will be fine. So that's what I did. When I was there, facing situations, difficult situations. There was one time when, there was a jungle in which my troops went in for an action. There was a sudden ambush with the terrorists opened fire. 2 of my boys who were from Assam, they jumped into a nala and we didn't know what had happened to them, because it was dark night. Throughout the night, I couldn't sleep. My worry was that they had been shot and they were no more, they had been killed. So that night, I was only praying. So that's why I say, besides preparation, what will happen, you don't know. But you face the situation as it comes. And possibly when you are in a difficult situation, God is your anchor. So remember that and be happy always. And if he is with you, nothing will happen. Mahabharat mein kehte hain na, Lord Krishna was with Arjun. So when Lord Krishna is with Arjun, victory for the Pandavas was assured. Okay. So keep that in mind always. Fine.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, we move on to Surya, but before that, let me just tell the rest of our audience that if you have any questions to ask, keep them prepared and keep feeding them into the chat box. After this round, we will open your questions to sir. Okay? Surya?
Yes.
Okay.
So my question is, can you tell us about the history of the army?
Okay. Yeah, the Indian Army, initially, India had a lot of princely states. There were Maharajas, kings, and the kings had their respective armies. Okay. Like, Tipu Sultan had his army. Similarly, the Peshwas, the Marathas, they had their army based in Pune. In the North India also, there was the Mughal Empire and the Mughals had their army, right? Now, all these armies in India there were different armies. Each prince, each king had different armies. Now, when the British took over India and started governing India and all, what they started doing was they developed, instead of having armies of respective kingdoms, they had one central army which they developed. which they called the British Indian Army. And that British Indian Army, they had regiments in it. What they made were different regiments in it. Like they had regiments which were in those days called like the Gurkha Regiment, the Gurkha Rifles. There was the Punjab Regiment, the Sikh Regiment. So such regiments were formed. And the troops of those areas were in those regiments. Fine. Now, after independence, that same British Indian Army became the Indian Army. Okay. And like the British also, they first started the air wing. They started a small British Indian Air Force, which started around 1932. And it had just a couple of squadrons. Then it went on to 5 squadrons, 7 squadrons or so by the time of independence. And then those squadrons came into the Indian Army. Fine. Now the Indian Army continued on those lines and became, the regiments continued. Some regiments got renamed. Like there was a Hyderabad regiment, which became Kumaon Regiment. Then there were certain regiments which went to Pakistan because they went into Pakistan Army. All right. Certain regiments got renamed, and then the Indian Army is formed out of that. And then we had many other parts of the army which also got developed over time, like, air defense, because air defense was very small in those days when the British left. Later on, air defense increased in size. Similarly, army aviation and such type of course developed. So that is the way the Indian Army has developed. Fine. And today the Indian Army has got about 26, 27 infantry regiments. Armored Corps, we have got about 90 regiments of tanks, or rather 60 plus regiments of tanks. That way it continues. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Sahasra, are you ready with your question?
Yes, ma'am, I am. So, what was the most dangerous mission you were assigned to? And do you have the right to make on-spot decisions in your mission?
Yeah. I had many dangerous missions. I can't tell you some of them because they were confidential also. But I'll tell you one mission which took place in Siachen. We had a post. I was a company commander at a place called Bilafondla. There was a post. To reach that post, we had to go through 2 tunnels. And those are small tunnels, this big. So you used to crawl through the tunnels. And it was on a slope. Tunnel was about this size, the size of your, what would go, a very small tunnel, what you see in a pipe, like, something like that. But then in winters, what used to happen was that the snow used to crumple and used to collect on the tunnels, and the tunnel used to get blocked. So we thought that let's open a new route to reach that post. So we said, okay, we'll go, the post was on a height. So we said, we'll go below that post and then we'll climb straight up. So we were 5 of us who went. There were people from para commandos who went with me. Okay, I was the company commander. So there were 4 para commandos, 9 para commando went with me. Right in the beginning was 1 para commando. Then there was their officer named Alok Jha. Then was the 3rd para commando. I was 4th, and then there was a para commando behind me. But when we reached that place, short of the place, there was a big crevasse over there. They call it Bergsrund. In mountaineering terms, you would have heard of it, or you can read about it. A gap gets created between a glacier and a mountain ridge. That gap is called Bergsrund. All right. It's in Siachen, you come across these in many places. So the Bergsrund is very difficult. It's quite big normally. So we had ladders. We had carried ladders with us. We put a ladder over it and crossed it. But then that was very unstable. It was, you could have gone down and probably my body would never have been seen. Okay. But then after that, we started climbing up. Now, when we started climbing up, the people on top were also expecting us. They were also watching and, helping us. So the Pakistanis saw these movements of our posts on top. So they opened artillery shelling. So the shell started landing on top of the post. Of course, the troops there in the post went into their bunkers. Bunkers are, places which are covered with steel sheets and all to keep them protected. But we were out on the slope, 5 of us. So we just hugged the slope. We were along with the snow. We were totally with the snow. Fortunately, the slope was very steep. The rounds went going up and over. It didn't hit us. We didn't get any shrapnel. After some time, the firing stopped and we climbed up. That was one of the most dangerous missions I recall. All right. And that's where, you remember that possibly the hand of God was there on top of you. That's why today I'm sitting here with you. Okay. Yeah. And, you asked about, are we free to take decisions?
Yes, sir.
That was your second part?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you are free to take decisions. What happens in the army is like this decision to make that route. My seniors didn't tell me, my superiors didn't tell me go and open this route. I felt that we could try this route. We can make a route like this. So I told them, we'll give it a go. So they said, okay, go ahead, do it. And, I could have easily said that it is very risky, very dangerous. I'll not go. But in the army, we are, taught to we take risks as they come. Risk taking is also a very important trait. You must learn to take risks in life. You'll have to take risks in life. You can't live a life of total comfort and safe, secure, cushioned like a baby. You have to face the hardship of life. So we took a call between the para commanders. We said, yes, let's go, we'll open the route. We knew the dangers. We knew that it was a tough job, but we took it on. And it was not my superior who told me, go and do it. Okay. I told them that, sir, I'll try it out. I told my CEO. He said, oh, yeah, go ahead. Okay, do it. He asked me, he said, koi problem to nahi hogi? Will it be difficult? I said, haan, hoga, we'll kar lenge. That is the way we handle situations. Okay. And very often, what you asked also, I think one of these children asked was that, as an army person, can he disobey orders? Yes, he can. Okay, what happens is when a plan is made, it is made based upon a situation. So they say, okay, we will do this. But what happens is when you reach that place, when the action starts, what happens is different. There's a word which is called no plan survives contact. So we were trained like that. Okay, like I'll give an example. We went to raid a place where they said terrorists are in so-and-so place. They said the terrorists are in Jungle Mohalla of a village called Haribuda. So we went there, but when we were going and establishing surrounding that place, suddenly we saw terrorists running from a different mohalla. Now the terrorists were not in that jungle mohalla. They had moved by the time we reached there into another mohalla. And they ran from that mohalla. And my troops who were there, they ran after them and opened fire. So we had not given them orders that, okay, you will run after them and fire over there. We had told them only we will surround that place and then finish that place there. But that's how a soldier is trained to take on a situation as it comes. And he has the freedom to, based upon what he's facing, he can, avoid an order or change the order. All right. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, Varshini, you're next.
Yes, ma'am. Sir, my next and my favorite question is, what is the best thing you get to do when you're in the army?
Best thing you get to do is visit a lot of good places, see a lot of beautiful places, right? Meet a lot of people from different parts of the country. And also you get to visit foreign countries. I went to Bhutan. I also went to Nepal. I was there in Nepal for 3.5 years. In Nepal, roamed around, saw many places in Nepal. Also, as in part of UN peacekeeping, United Nations peacekeeping, I visited countries in Africa, places like Congo, South Sudan, also went to Israel, also went to Lebanon. Okay, so that is one thing good. You visit a lot of places, meet a lot of people, make a lot of friends, good friends for life. And you have a very good, strong support system in the army. The entire army is a support to you. Even today, as a retired person, I have a support system behind me, that is the army. Even though I've retired, they will look after me if I have a crisis or a problem. All right. So that is the good part of the army, right? That's what you wanted to know.
Yeah. Sir. Thank you.
Okay, next we move to Hamsini.
Yes, ma'am. Sir, my second question is,
Sir, what did you think of the officers or colleagues when you joined in the army?
They were good friends. When we joined the army, we were all friends together. Okay. It's like you have joined a school and your classmates are your friends. So when I joined the army, those who worked with me were my friends, colleagues. You know, we had good relationships with them, happy, supporting each other, helping each other. Right? That's how the team spirit develops. A good team is a one which accepts, all of you with, everyone is not as good as the other. Every person has differences. Some person is good in something, somebody is good in something else. But as a team, you work together. Like a person may be a good batsman, another person is a good bowler. Right? So the team works together based upon your respective skills. And so we had a happy team. When I joined my infantry unit also in Gurkhas, also was a very happy team. My soldiers were very good troops. And so good. Your job environment, okay, is normally very good in the army. Okay. I know that some places you might find some difficult bosses to work under, but that difficult bosses you will face even in civil. Okay. So that is something which you have to adjust to and accept and work your way through it. Right? Yeah.
Okay, the next question will be from Anantram from Royal Concord.
Sir, do you think that the Jawans are not being appreciated enough? Or rather, do you think that they are indeed the unsung heroes of today's world?
Very often what happens is that why we think like this is because of the influence of media. Sometimes social media or media may portray a thing in a manner that the Jawans are not looked after or there is disgruntlement. Some video comes out of, some Jawan possibly being disgruntled or disillusioned, or of people not looking after Jawans. That's what you are indicating, that, that the the troops are not respected or Jawans are not respected. But my experience has been is that the Indian armed forces are respected. The Indian army is respected. In fact, when people did a survey of all the professions in the army or in the country, and graded as to which professions are the most respected, invariably the armed forces and army is the most respected profession, followed by teachers, doctors. Then after that come some other professions, and some professions are hated. Some professions, people say that these, like farmers are also respected, but there are many professions which are hated. I don't want to, like, for example, lawyers are not very looked after well, or not respected a lot, though people will say yes. But then that is what happens, is that there are people, country as a whole respects the troops. And my experience has been, whenever I've traveled at places, in a train, you're traveling, the people around you, when they see, acha, you're from the army, they show respect to you. They say, have something, they offer you things, they talk to you, they are ready to give you space. The troops also, when sometimes I've seen even policemen, when they find that there's a soldier who's having a problem, they say, okay, theek hai, saathi tu bhi uniform wala hai, they leave him and say, theek hai, jao. If that person has, not broken some traffic rule or something. So there is a lot of respect for the troops and the army in the countrymen. It may not be shown to you always, but when you actually go around and you just in your locality or in your, bus or in your people around, just ask your market, shops, etc. You ask 50 people, and 50 people may say 40 will tell you, yes, we respect the army and we respect the army troops. Any people. Okay. So, and wherever I have gone, I have found people respecting. But what happens is that, somebody puts out a media or puts out a storyline that the troops are not being respected, or, they are not looked after. I think few incidents may happen of that nature, but largely, overall, say 70-80%, the opinion of the armed forces is very positive as far as the country is concerned. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I hope that is something which you can, also assess yourselves, right? And make a true assessment. Don't get carried away by a media picture, which may be just a one-off incident. To get a true picture, one will have to think twice. Think, is this right? Is this wrong? Is this what they're telling me right? Or is it possibly just that man's perception, that man's feeling, right? Okay.
Okay, so to finish the second round of questions, we have Shrestha. After this, we'll be taking questions from the audience. I will say your name, and I know you've sent your questions out in the chat box. I would request you to put your video and your audio on and ask the question yourself. All right. I will, after this question, after this round, I will say your name and you can come online and ask your question. Okay, Shrestha, are you ready to go?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
So, sir, what were the changes you see in yourself, like in your daily behavior after you were enlisted?
I became more confident. We as young cadets, we could do things which we did not realize that our body could do. Okay. And I was so confident that I could go anywhere, handle any situation, and it carried on in life. Okay. So the main thing that happens is that, you become a more capable person. One. All right. The second thing that happens is that, as it is, there was a sense of patriotism or a patriotic feeling within me that became bigger. The love for the country increased. When we go around and go visit places, serving in many difficult areas, talking to people and all, you develop greater bonds with the country. Okay. And in addition to that, you also become more courageous. When you realize that, okay, you have to risk your life at times, your courage also develops. Okay. So you are not always going to be in very comfortable situations. You will have risky, life-threatening situations. And you have to take the decision at that time that, okay, no matter the risk to life, I have to do it. And that's how it goes. Fine. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So these are some of the things which improve you as a person. And another thing happened was that we became more humble. I climbed a peak called Noon Peak in the Kashmir Himalayas. From Kargil, you go south. It's about 23,410 feet. This was in 1984, along with the mountaineering team from the warfare school. When we reached the top, I was a speck in the vast area around me, and there were glaciers all around, and we were just a small speck. Then you realize how humble you as a person are on this earth, planet Earth. You occupy no space, actually. All right. You are just a person who's come here for a short duration of time, and you'll go after that short duration of time.
Yes.
Right? My daughter does archaeology. She talks about intergalactic periods of 10,000 years. We're going to be here on life on planet Earth just for about 70, 80, 90 years, depends. Fine. Who knows? So humility is another thing which learn when you live in life in difficult areas. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
All right, sir. So now we're going to open some questions from the teachers and the principals who are also part of our show today. The first question is from Kanupriya Soni. Could you please put your video on?
Yeah, hi. Hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are. So you can go and ask your question.
Good evening, sir. First of all,
Good evening.
Before I ask anything, I would just like to say it is my honor and pleasure to have seen you live and talking live with you. So my question is this: you were discussing just a minute back. What would you like to suggest some skills which we as teachers should focus right from the beginning to prepare our students to be a better citizens of our country?
Yeah, Kanupriya, in fact, a very good question. One of the things which one of the students has asked about discipline. So I know teachers, are considered that you have to develop discipline in the children. So in my school days also, we used to sometimes, not be very happy about very strict teachers. But your sense of duty as a teacher tells you that I have to probably, be slightly more harsh with the child to make him more disciplined. Especially, I was a naughty child also. Okay, so my teachers used to also, try and tell me sometime to go outside the class. Okay, and I'm sure the boys and girls here also must be naughty. So one thing that you should, of course, look at in the children is, one is discipline. Second aspect that I'd like to emphasize is that we need to go in more for practical teaching and less of theory. We should have more of activities. I gained a lot from activities and practical, actions. There was a movie which we saw a long time ago. You may have also seen it. It was called Kitab, in which a child, he's not happy at home because his parents go to work and he's alone. So he decides to go to his grandmother. So he leaves home. I'll go to my grandmother. And now he's going in a train and he's learning from what he's seeing around him. He's seeing a person doing tamasha and he's learning from life. So possibly we need to take children out more to expose them to different environments. Here, I believe in some schools around here, they take children to farms. They make them do some farming. They make them do some digging. They make them do, okay, this is a shovel, this is a pickaxe. They make them do wood cutting. And so develop skills in the children other than your textbook skills. And other than the video game and the computers. So we need to develop them more in terms of skills, develop practical and activity based, and better, understanding of the greatness of a nation. When they understand the greatness of a nation, they will start loving the nation more. Especially if we have to counter the Western model of trying to say that West is a better nation than the Indian nation. So that's what are some of the tips that I can think of. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your input.
We also have the principal of Birla Open Minds International School who has a question to ask. Ma'am, are you, can you hear me? Are you still there?
Yes, exactly. Very good evening, everyone, and namaste, sir. It was a great honor to be here and listen to the very inspiring stories you had to share with our children and all the children over here. The interactions was amazing. In fact, I'm learning a lot of things when I'm going through this session about gratitude and the thought process of how we have to mold ourselves to the situations that we are put in. My question to you is that this generation kids have a very cushiony life. They have a very cushiony life. They're cushioned, they're taken care of in ways of the school or the parent side. And children have been put with this thought process that you're studying because you need to get a job, and then you have to build a career, and you have to live your life. It wasn't how when we were growing up that we were studying to groom ourselves to, learn to have gratitude or different values. Of course, children, most of them in many schools, all of these practices are happening. But somewhere I feel that the main intention of studying is to get pass your exam, get your grades, and get a job. What is your advice for the children on this particular thought process?
Yeah, in fact, I as a parent, I was also very worried about my two children, Sonika and Arjun, their studies, and we were worried about their marks and what job they will do, what work they will get when they grow up. And what possibly experience has taught us that, the marks are not the critical factor. And how we translate this information and knowledge to the parents is the challenge that you as the principal and the teachers will face.
Yes.
Why have we reached this situation? One is that India has got a very job crisis. Like I give you an figures of 80 lakh children coming out of class 12. How many jobs can you create in this country to ensure that all of them get placed well? So what the government in the last few years has been doing is that, okay, push people towards skill development, more skilled workers, more skilled qualifications. So that means you don't need to do graduation. Then you don't need to be a doctor. You don't need to become an engineer. You don't need a BE degree. You don't need a MBBS degree. So that type of a thinking has to be spread more. That, okay, all 80 lakh people who are coming out of college or the 12th standard will not go and should not go to colleges. Okay, even if we say 40 lakh, but then all 40 lakh should not go to, engineering or doctorate colleges. So this challenge we will be facing. This competitive job market is what is forcing the parents to force the children to study. Because the father thinks, or the mother also thinks, that if my child has to do well in life, to get a good job, he or she has to score well. And that is what sets the chain down. So if we are able to say that they will be able to get good jobs despite not getting very high grades, that way probably the pressure on children will reduce. The second reason why possibly this, facing hardships has become more, people are becoming more accustomed to a soft life, wanting to have a cushioned life, is we have started having small families. And small families means that, the parents are worried about the safety and security of the children. So if there are 1 or 2 children, that is what is telling the parents that no, and therefore the mother invariably will tell the child not to take risks. And here am I telling you that tell the children that be ready to take risks. But we fortunately in the armed forces possibly got into that rhythm of training wise going to be capable of taking risks. And so what I need to do is that, we have to tell children that, there was a song, old song you might remember, Que Sera Sera, whatever will be, will be.
Yes.
So whatever will be, you should be capable enough to face it. That is what has to go, rather than saying that, okay, because you can't legislate what will happen tomorrow. I have a nephew. He was doing well, did his engineering, got a job. Suddenly had a car accident with spinal injury. Now he's finding it difficult to cope with it. Only son, only child also. So all that cushion, what you mentioned, the cushioned life, the protective environment, has an effect on the mind of the child. And the child, I actually had to, help him come out of it. So these are the ways in which you have to tell it this thing that, okay, no, this is fine. It's happened. Now take it on. Life has to carry on. So when you make the children capable of facing hardship, they will have a better life. So hardship, and also, more of going away from the scoring culture to a capability driven culture, that you should be capable of earning a good job, earning good life, and not necessarily into high scoring subjects and themes or, aspects. I hope I am able to give some insight into this.
Absolutely, sir. I completely agree. Thank you. Thank you for answering my question.
Thank you.
Our next question is from Ms. Arpita. Are you here?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. So, sir, first I salute you and Jai Hind for all the services. You have done a lot of good things, I'm pretty much sure, for our entire nation. And as Kanupriya ma'am told and our principal ma'am told, it's a great honor and really a great privilege, to hear about your life's journey. And while you were addressing us, so I have just jotted down a few points which I really liked. First of all, be grateful and accept what you have rather than brooding over things which you don't have. And secondly, life is not always black and white. It's not always binary. Well said, sir.
Yeah.
Then how discipline helps us in everyday's life. So my question to you is, I am very much eager to know one thing from you. They say teamwork is a dream work. And I'm sure you might have led many teams during your entire journey in Army. So how did you keep each member of your team involved and motivated?
Yeah, in fact, leadership, the question that you've asked is of leadership. And leadership is something that you build a bond with your troops. Now that bond develops by being with them and being with them in difficult times. Like I'll give there is a operation going on, there are say some terrorists in a building and you have to go into that building to finish them. Okay. So you as an officer go along with the troops inside. That means you face the same risk that they face. So when the soldiers realize that you are with them, sharing the risk with them, the team spirit becomes better and the bond becomes better. The second aspect which I found with these soldiers is that they want you to be a fair person. So, if you are being partial to somebody, then, you create a problem in leadership. So when you're dealing with soldiers and troops, irrespective of which community or which place he comes from, you will have to deal with him in a same just manner. All right. It happens, though I was in a Gurkha unit, I had some tradesmen, some persons from Punjab who used to think that I will give them a better, be more partial towards them. But no, I can't be partial. I have to be fair to all. So if he came late from leave, he got the same punishment as the other person will get. So fair in punishment, bond with them, work with them, play with them. And we used to, as a young officer, when I joined my unit, I used to play football with these troops, part of the football, with the soldiers. So automatically the bonds develop. Then, inter-company games, we used to have competitions between and so you're playing with your company team. The cross-country race, you are running the cross-country race with these soldiers, okay? And you have to do well with them. You can't fail. So if in a BPT test, I'm not coming in excellent, they will also say, okay, Saab is slightly weak physically, all right? So you have to ensure that you are as good as them. And that's how you bond with them. So that's leadership. And then team spirit develops, by all these activities that you play games together, the team develops. That's why I've been telling the young children that, we need to increase these games. When I see foreign countries, European nations, Australia, New Zealand, or, the most countries, they give a lot of emphasis on children's games. In our country, possibly that is one field which has been neglected in our schooling systems. Okay. I think that's what I can't think of anything more right now. All right. And one of the examples of leadership has been Field Marshal Manekshaw. Sometimes you can, glance through some of his, episodes in life. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so we have one more question from the audience, from Miss Sunita from Euro School.
Yes. Jai Hind, sir. This is Sunita Pandita here.
Jai Hind. Good to know that you're from Kashmir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And having been, actually, I had an experience of staying in Badami Bagh Camp area for almost 20 years and have grown up with all the Army veterans. It's a privilege and a proud moment and an honor to be here, sir, in the same frame with you. I would first and foremost like to thank you for all services, sir, and bringing back the memories of my childhood. All the names that you took has taken me down the memory lane. I would just ask one simple question, sir. Is there anything that you would like to tell your younger self, or would have liked to change when you were a young student, or would have liked to do it differently? And what is it that motivates you still and you're still going great, so that it helps each one of us, sir?
I'll take the second part first. What keeps me going today is that, after I retired, I have some very good friends, my postmates from younger days, who were with me in NDA. So some of them, then they told me that you must, that your experiences, your life's journey, you must share it with the next generation. Because what you have gained and seen, not many people have seen. So that is one thing which, therefore they said that, that you have to give back to society. Society has given you something, so you should be able to give back to society. So that's what, motivates me, that, okay, keep going. I'm doing the chief editor of a magazine called Medals and Ribbons. Okay. You can, if you wish, you can, subscribe to it, or you can even go to the website. There are some beautiful articles in it regarding the armed forces. It's all on the armed forces, Medals and Ribbons. So I am busy in that, through that also I pass on some of my experiences to the readers. So that's what keeps me going, one. And now, what should I change in my life experiences? Honestly, I've never given that a thought. Because long time ago, someone told us that no regrets. Okay. What you did in whatever has happened. You can't change it. But possibly there's only one thing which I can think of is I had a chance to learn swimming in school, good swimming in school, but I skipped that chance. I didn't learn swimming very well and didn't become a very good swimmer in NDA also. Didn't cleared my tests and all, but that was it. Maybe I should have done more of swimming. That is one thing which I can look back in time and say, yeah, I've played football, hockey, various games, but I didn't possibly get into this field of swimming, and that's why possibly I didn't go to the Navy, right? So otherwise, yeah. And that's all that I can actually think of. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam. Nupur, I think we have had a long session.
Sorry?
We've had a long session, I think, now.
We had a very long session. We're almost at the end of it. So now that you're talking about this magazine called Medals and Ribbons, it reminds me that, we are keen to know about these medals that are mentioned, PVSM, UYSM, AVSM, VSM. What does all this mean? And can we see them?
Yeah. In fact, these are the medals which I've earned in my lifetime of service. 15 of them. I'll start with, this is the PVSM called the Param Vishishta Seva Medal. It's given for, exceptional, distinguished service. Very exceptional, the topmost. And next one is Uttam Yuddha Seva Medal. Now, Uttam Yuddha Seva Medal is given for exceptional wartime service, operational areas, wartime. And this was given to me for my command of troops in Kashmir. I was the co-commander there with about 1 lakh troops under me for about 15, 16 months. And I went there after the Uri and the surgical strikes. The situation was bad in Kashmir that time. Burhan Wani agitation was on and the vegetation was in the streets, and I had to bring the situation back to normal. And it successfully did it. So got this Uttam Yuddha Seva Medal. The next one is Ati Vishishta Seva Medal. Again, for distinguished service, I was commanding a division in Kupwara.
Could you keep it slightly up higher so we can see the medal?
Again, a tough area. Which is the largest army. Yeah, the third one. Okay, this is the Param PVSM. The second one was Uttam Yuddha Medal. The next one is Ati Vishishta Seva Medal. Then the next one was Visishta Seva Medal, VSM, which I got as a colonel for commanding troops in the Poonch area. And then, this is an Op Rakshak Medal for service in J&K. Then This is an Parakram medal for, that after the Parliament attacks, the Indian Army was mobilized. Then this was an Operation Meghdoot medal, which is for Siachen Glacier, where I served there. Then, of course, there is a field service for the field service I've done. Then there is a Foreign Service medal for foreign service. And then there is, independence. Then there are medals for, 50 years of Indian independence, 25 years Indian independence, then 30 years service, 20 years service, 9 years service. So that's how the medals are lined up. Okay. And
I would like to ask you a question here, coming out of it. How heavy are these medals and how do you manage to wear them?
Well, those who have less medals have lesser weight to carry. Those who have more medals carry a greater weight, greater responsibilities. So yeah, it would be, I haven't weighed them honestly. Actually, I've never weighed them because, one never looked at these minor things. One wore them because one was proud of them. These indicate glory and pride. Medals and ribbons indicate glory and pride. This is my glory and pride in my service to the nation. Okay.
I think all of you should give him a big hand on that.
Yeah.
Come on, all the children, give him a big hand. I think it's a brilliant thing. I've never seen this medal, so I think I'm very happy. And,
thank you.
I think it's absolutely wonderful. Yeah, please carry on, sir. I had to interfere here.
Yeah, please.
Yeah,
no,
go
what
ahead.
else?
So the last thing we'd like to do, sir, is I can see some pictures behind you.
Yeah, okay. I'll just run.
Can you take a pose?
Yes. Yeah, I'll just run through some of my photos. It was very difficult finding some old photos.
I can't see the screen.
Okay. Others, can you see the screen?
No, sir, it's blank right now.
No, sir.
Yeah. Now can you see the screen?
Sir, some blue background is there.
No, sir.
Yes, sir, some background.
You shared the screen, but you share the desktop or something like that. It's right now sharing blank.
Okay.
I'll just check.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we can see the pictures now.
Now?
Yeah, I can see the presentation.
Yeah. Can you see it?
No, sir.
Not now, sir.
No, we lost.
Wait a second. There is a time delay.
There's a black screen.
Sir, when you start the slideshow, we can't see it.
Okay. I think, it says your screen share is paused. Let me see. One sec. Say paused.
Now? Yeah, now we can.
Yes.
Yes, we can
We can see it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. There's a time delay. That's why for the next slide to come in. So just wait a minute. Wait a second, I'll.
Yeah, this good. Just go next.
Yeah, is this okay?
Yes, sir. It's perfect.
Yeah. You know, the photo on the right was my services selection board, SSB, when selected to go to NDA. The one on the left, I was the hockey captain in NDA and IMA. So I'd come from IMA to play in NDA. So I was with my youngsters there. That's that photo. I was a Sikh earlier. I was a Sardar earlier. I was a Sikh boy in NDA and IMA and then shaved off my hair later. Okay.
Sir, now
So-
we cannot see your screen.
Yes, sir.
All right.
It's gone black.
Yeah, it's getting paused on its own.
Sir, actually, you would have shared only one of the screens. So if you start slideshow, we can't see it.
Yeah. So what do I do now?
So go back to the screen and just click on the left side.
Okay.
Go back to the screen. Whatever you showed us. Don't
Yeah,
go full screen. Doesn't matter.
Let me see this. Now it's come.
No.
Okay. Wait a minute.
So click escape.
Yarni, I'm doing resume share. Let's see if it comes.
Yeah. Just go to the left and just keep clicking.
Yeah. Can you see this?
No,
If you click on slideshow, it's not coming.
Sir, don't go to slideshow. Don't go to slideshow.
All right. Okay.
Go back to the screen you showed me. Just go back. Yeah. On the left, you see the different slides. Just click next each of them.
Okay, fine.
Next
Okay,
slide.
can you
Just
see
click on
this
the next.
gentleman cadets to young guns?
Yes,
Yes.
sir, we can.
Okay, the left photo, I'm the person in the center. I was a Sardar that time. Okay. In the right photo, I'm at number 12 when I was selected for NDA. This Charlie squadron in NDA, that was my squadron in NDA. I'm the person on the left, extreme left. This was with Postmates as NDA. I'm right in the center, kneeling with a rifle in my hand. You know, all of us are kneeling in front. You know, this was once I joined my unit in a camp in Rajasthan. You can see my tent behind. You know, we used to live in those tents in the middle of dunes.
That must be really tough, sir.
No, not tough. It's very easy. You just have to do it. Life is easy. Just do it. Remember that. Okay. This was rappelling down a rock face near Sonamarg in Kashmir. You can see the truck far below, you know, behind.
Yes, sir.
So this was a rock surface and this was part of our training when you have to go down on the rock face, right? This was in Kashmir. I had to go to a place where there was an operation. So I got off the helicopter and I'm going to the place where people are waiting to meet me. This is meeting the persons there near the mountains. You can see the mountains in the background.
Yes, sir.
Actually, what you're seeing behind is Pakistan. Those mountains behind are in Pakistan. Okay.
Okay, sir.
This was, you know, in Srinagar with General Bipin Rawat, the ex-Chief of Defence Staff. He passed away in December in that helicopter crash. I worked with him for a few years, walking with him in that place. Sorry. There was a youth festival in Baramulla So I'd gone there, and this is a part of the festival, talking to the media. In the right photo, Dia Mirza and Azharuddin are there with me. They had also come there for the festival. This was in one of the operational locations where I was writing my remarks. This was a parade where I was taking the salute and talking to the media. This, of course, was with General and Mrs. Rawat, and it's me and my wife. Standing on the right is my wife. And this is a photograph of receiving the PVSM from the President. I received, 3 awards from the President. the Ati Visishta Seva Medal, the PVSM, and the AVSM and UYSM. So 3 times I've gone up to the President to take my awards.
Wow, sir.
That's
It must be
then.
very cool to watch President in person, right, sir?
Yes, in fact, a very good person, great person. And my first award I got from President Pranab Mukherjee. He was then the President, Pranab Mukherjee. Okay. Also a great person. And the second 2 were with, of course, with President Kovind. Yeah, I think that was the slide sharing.
I think I've had a really long session. Kids, did you have a good time? Did you enjoy asking him questions? What were some things that you liked about this session?
The session was inspiring.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Your
ma'am.
answers to my
Yes, ma'am,
questions
we learned
have
many
inspired.
things.
Okay, I'm going to ask a question quickly here, one liner each of you. Why are you proud of, after all this session today, do you think you're prouder about the Indian Army than before? Let's start with the first one. Nupur, just ask each of them the names.
Okay. So let's start with
Just one
Alhad.
line.
Alhad, did you understand the question? Is Alhad there?
Alhad, your mic is off. Alhad, your mic is off. Okay, Alhad's busy. Karun, can you put your mic on and just one line why you like the Indian Army?
I like the Indian Army because I am proud of their services.
Surya, okay, Nupur, just ask them each of them and then.
Okay, Ahana.
I have always been proud of the Indian Army and always thank them for their services. And I always will be as grateful to them as I am today.
Okay, Sanvi.
Many great people, they sacrifice their life for us. That's seriously very good. And yeah, I'm proud about the Indian Army from the start till the end.
Okay, Surya.
I'm proud of the Indian Army because they gave their lives to save the India.
Okay, we move on to Varshini. Varshini, I think you also have a message, but you can read it out to us now.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for attending today's session with us and interacting with us, sir. Because of your answers to my questions have inspired me to take up a career in Army. I'm feeling very proud of Indian Army, sir. And I also want, when I join Army, I want my family and friends to feel proud of myself.
Okay.
Varshini, you had a very interesting question. Can you ask the question now? That will be the last question Lieutenant General is going to answer.
Let's finish off with the kids. Hamsidi, what about you? Is there anything you want to say?
I feel very proud about the Indian Army because of their services for the nation, and they have sacrificed their lives for our country, leaving their family behind. That's it, ma'am.
Okay, Anantram.
Yes, ma'am. Like everyone else, I'm extremely grateful to the army, and also I'm extremely appreciative of how strong you should be, both physically and mentally, to do justice by the country and to serve the nation.
Okay, Shrestha.
Sir, I feel very honored to have this session with you. I feel grateful to have an army like ours, and how the people, and I feel very proud to have people in our country who have given up their lives for us.
Okay. So before we finish, we have one very interesting question from Ahana.
Okay.
Okay, Ahana is asking us, what was your mom's reaction when you told her that you want to join the army, or your parents' reaction when you said that, okay, I'm going to go join the Indian Army?
Yeah, okay. Ahana, you know, in us, I'm from a Jat Sikh community. In the Jat Sikh community, large number of people joined the armed forces. And in our family also, my Mamaji was in the army. My one Mamaji was in the Air Force. My one Chachaji was in the Air Force. So it was a good thing. My mother and father were happy that I was going into the army. All right. Because possibly the ethos prevalent in our family was that yes, army is a good career. And they were very proud when I cleared my NDA examination. They distributed sweets. And, you know, within the community, the respect of my parents increased. Within the village, the people used to come and say, their son is becoming an officer. Okay. So I was, you know, it was a thing which was something which was, they were very glad about. Okay, Ahana? Yeah.
Sir, thank you so much. It was really nice to have you here, and you kids are so confident. You ask questions so well. I mean, grade 2 all the way till grade, I think, what, 11, 9? What grade are you in, Shrestha?
9th, ma'am.
So from 2 to 9, I think you all really put your questions out very well. I think you made great cub reporters, and so I hope you enjoyed the session too.
Yeah, in fact,
Yes.
I must thank you. I must thank Hoopsters for this excellent session. I never realized that it will be so engrossing for me too. And I am glad if I've been able to, you know, be able to inspire you all. And I'm sure the Indian Army will also inspire all of you. Okay. And keep doing well in life. All the best, and always my best wishes are with all of you.
Okay. There's been a request for a photo session with all the groups. So can all the participants please switch on their cameras? We will.
You have to take a screenshot.
I know, because I'm trying to learn that. Thank you.
Control-Shift-3.
No, I will make this screenshot big first. Okay. I'm improving in my technology stuff. Okay, everybody there? No, somebody's missing. Yes. Okay, guys, can we smile? Looking for me. Was it Control-Shift-3? No, Shift. So this is a Mac. It's Shift Command.
Command-Shift-3 or Command-Shift-4.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. I will share this with you guys. And I mean, once you have thanked the children and we have thanked Lieutenant General, but I'd like to thank the principals and the schools, because you are more important. I mean, we all said no to this whole thing, and this wouldn't have happened. The fact that you are being proactive is something which is what I would like to appreciate, and thank you very much. We're doing a lot more shows like this, and hope your school keeps participating.
Bala sir,
very much. Yes.
Bala sir, we would like to thank you for giving us such a wonderful privileged opportunity with sir. So thank you so much from our school side. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
And also please free to call us up and say if you want something interesting done, and we can do it. We need to meet people like this to inspire us. You know, somebody asked what keeps you going. I think people like him keeps us going, you know, and makes us want to live a better life and do something with your life and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been a lovely, and we didn't plan a 120-minute session. I remember yesterday when I was talking to Lieutenant General, he said, how long will it be? I said 60 to regular. It might go to 90. And he said, no, I don't think 90. I think it will be 2 hours. And we had to we actually cross 2 hours, you know. And I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. And thank you all for being here. Have a lovely evening. And sir, thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you. It's been an honor for me.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. On behalf of Euro School, Wakat CBSE campus, I would like to thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Other schools want to say hello, hello. We can all say hello. Okay.
Thank you so much from Birla Open Minds International School, from all teachers and students. Thank you, sir. Jai.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, have a lovely evening. Thank you.
Jai Hind, sir.
Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.
Jai Hind, sir.
Have a lovely evening, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Super. Thank you so much. Thank you, Bala, sir.
Thank you, Ma. Take
Thank
care.
you, sir.